We're live. It's the
Oh,
pre-show, Dinosaur Brains. And we're going to talk about, during the pre-show, we talk about foolish, fanatical. What's another word, Paige?
Diabolical.
Diabolical conversation before we start the real show. So if you don't want to watch this part, fast forward it, what, about 15 or 20 minutes or until Fidel can get online. And you will see the real show when it starts.
Real fireworks will happen once Fidel gets here.
Yes.
He's our technical issue every week.
Yes, he is. Wow.
Somebody's going to have to hold his hand.
I thought that was going to be me. I really thought that's going to be me. They're going to be like so frustrated. Where is he at? You know, I can't believe it actually worked out this way.
Hey, Pat, though, yours is a little dark on your end.
Yeah, let me turn on some more lights. I think it's just because I'm in it's the lighting in the room. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Let me
I just want to figure out the part. That's much better, Pat.
Okay.
I want to figure out the part where we can get live messages back and forth. I don't know how that.
Oh, we can live stream it.
Yeah, where you could get,
Oh.
If you go over to the left, there's a toolbar, and then on the right, it'll pick up group chat.
Okay.
So I don't know if that'll be it, but I can type you in a group chat here.
Oh, I see. Group chat. So it could be anybody outside the group, right?
I think if they're watching, if they've got the link, they should be able to, but we'll find out once we invite people from the outside world one day, I guess. Like our students who will laugh at us hysterically.
Well, I would like to give them an email address so that, when we're on here, if we see something that we want to answer.
We could always put the link on Google Classroom and see if they're pay attention to it, because some of them have it set up where they get alerts on their phone pretty quickly. Because I posted something the other day and they're like, "Thank you," and it only been on there for like 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's Fidel coming in.
All right.
It didn't take him 20 minutes.
There.
Fidel, hey.
Welcome to the show.
I had to download Google Chrome.
Yeah.
So you can tell the students, and the answers for the test tomorrow will be on our show.
Oh God, they will definitely freaking listen to that.
Yes, they definitely. They definitely need the answers. We were just talking. It wasn't a good test week for us, was it, Paige?
No, it wasn't. But it wasn't any more than I had feared.
Right.
I had more hope, but sometimes things don't always go as planned.
But numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
Just like last year, nothing changed except for test 2 did, but not test 3.
Yeah, they did phenomenal on 2, but they continued the pattern on 3.
3.
Yeah, 3 was pretty rough.
Let's see. I'm trying to get where someone talks, it's supposed to go straight to that screen.
By the way, Fidel, we're live in the pre-show.
This is the pre-show, Fidel.
This is the pre-show. We're not live yet.
We're live,
we are.
but it's pre-show.
Oh, okay.
It's not the
Live
official
pre-show.
show yet.
Okay.
We'll just edit this part out.
Okay, Pat's still in his work uniform. Are you at home?
Yeah. I just got home right before, just probably right at 6:30, I think, is when I walked in the doors.
All right. Yeah, the idea is it's supposed to swap back and forth. Like when Paige starts talking or Pat, it's supposed to pop back over to you, and you have the screen.
I think it's just like Fidel fiddling with the screen.
Yeah, it's I've got the computer on my wooden table, and I think it just there isn't any air coming up underneath it, no airflow, so it's getting hot.
The county laptops get really hot when they're unplugged for some reason.
So Maybe I'll unplug it for a little bit.
And Fidel's gone.
No, I'm here. I'll come momentarily.
All right.
Hang on 1 second. We're fixing to get started.
All right, let's do it for real.
Yeah.
Coke is it.
There we go. I got it fixed now. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
21 minutes.
Yeah.
It's better than last time.
It is better already. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Dino-Brains for episode number 2, April 17th, 2019. I'd like to welcome, I'd like to welcome everybody out there. It's episode number 2. Pat was our guest for episode number 1, and he liked it so much that he wants to hang out with us. So
yes, thank you.
I think that is awesome. I tried really hard to get EMA to come be a guest this week, but I ran into some difficulties on finding exactly who can come from EMA to be on our podcast. So maybe we can do it next week. But I kind of wanted the show title of the show on this week for episode number 2 to kind of revolve around like a mass casualty incident, especially this month. It's month of April. It's known here in the South, and especially in Georgia and Alabama, for being a severe weather month. We see a lot of tornadoes through the months of April, May, and June. And I was thinking about, I think it was April the 27th, 2011, when there was 387 people that died, lost their life on that day in Alabama, and over 1,500 injuries. And which we've all kind of been around a while. And so most of us have more than likely operated in something, definitely not that severe for me, but we've operated when we felt like our resources were definitely stressed. And but I kind of wanted to put it out there. What I want to put out there is what you guys think about more or less the statistics, the information that we have throughout the years, and how prepared do you guys think, not just a cab, but all over from multi departments, how well do you think they're prepared for some type of event like a tornado or something like that? So open the floor.
I don't think we're nearly as prepared as we think we are. I think we need a lot more, especially in training, triage, dispatch, being able to triage calls appropriately for those that we need to send out. We can hold there's a tree on my house call for a lot longer if nobody's injured, instead of sending them to that and they're stuck there for hours because there's power lines down possibly. It hit a house. There's a power line going into that house where they could be out helping other people who are injured.
Also on the other end of that spectrum is as citizens ourselves, I don't think we have enough. We don't plan for disasters. Very few people do. I don't want to say that people don't, but very few people do. And those that don't, what's our main priority during disasters is water. I don't think we have enough water. We don't have enough canned goods to go to even to feed ourselves, much less a neighborhood. So I think better education, through education, hopefully we can get these resources to us, to the citizens of the county or the state government.
Mike,
Fidel, I will loan you some of these wonderful MREs to keep at your house for later on.
I got a bunch of canned goods.
Those MREs have gotten a lot better over the years too.
Oh yeah, they have.
This was not bad.
What are they, 2,000 calories?
Yeah, like
Oh yeah, it's like a whole day's worth of food in
No, actually,
a bag.
I think they're 3,000 calories.
I don't know. Hold on. Let me see. This right here is 300 for a cinnamon bun.
Oh, wow.
It might be dinner later. I don't know yet.
what do you think, Pat?
Oh, Mike, that's a great question. I think we're probably not as, just like Paige said and Fidel said, we're probably not as prepared as, we always, think, oh, it's not going to happen to us. I will say this is on a positive note. I just learned this today. I had no idea, but apparently, AMR, that's AMR DeKalb. You guys have probably been over to their headquarters there. I was over there the other day, and I had no idea how extensive their building really was. I thought it's a lot larger than I thought. But I was told today that they are actually kind of like the FEMA headquarters for, I guess, the Southeast, maybe right here in DeKalb.
Yeah.
And
they have
I
an
did
entire
not know that.
suite.
Yes, so I had no idea of that, and so that's kind of a blessing for us, if something, God forbid, if something does happen right here locally, we do have that resource right here in county.
I think one thing that kind of led me to this too was I think I was telling the recruits this last weekend when we had some severe weather moving in, that people look up to us in the community for guidance. And I was telling them how important it was for them to actually start watching the weather and to stay current on that. But I was talking to them, and half of them didn't know kind of what to do. So first, I think we have to educate not just the recruits, but people around who live around us what the differences are between maybe a tornado watch, a tornado warning, how important it is to own a weather radio. A lot of our storms hit at night, and that's a lot of times at night. That's the only way you're going to get a warning is through the weather radio. And where do you go? You have to go to the lowest level of your home in the center of your house, preferably a basement. But if you don't have a basement, to a room where there's no windows and stuff like that. But that was one thing is I think we have to remember that we have a position of responsibility in the community, but we need to be able to tell them just at the smallest level really what to do. I mean, we can certainly talk about what we do when we have 150 patients and 40 of them are reds and 30 greens or whatever, but we have to be able to, I think, one, start at the basic building blocks, to be able to educate our neighbors, our family, to let the basic information get around. What do you guys think?
We do, and there are a lot of programs out there. I know EMA had a couple, and I believe it's actually the entire month of September that is preparedness month. And I know they go out there to shopping malls or the mall with their table and pamphlets and things and said, these are things that you need for your home, and these are things you need to look out for. And they give out these pamphlets and they talk to people. Whether or not they listen is another story. And I know that part of EMA is trying to get that information out there to other people so they can understand it and advise them of that. Their whole job is to mitigate loss of life or loss of property throughout the community.
Right. You guys feel like, though, that people in public safety ought to have some basic knowledge to be able to tell other people about this kind of stuff?
No, I agree.
I mean, absolutely. There's so many FEMA classes online that you can take that people can educate themselves, or even first responders. I've sat there and taken a couple of them, and they're quite interesting with a lot of information. They're a little overwhelming because they're from the federal government, they're FEMA courses, and They can be a little dry, but they do have a lot of good information.
Right.
DeKalb County does offer, I believe it's once a month, the CERT training. Is that monthly or is that once a week? I think it's monthly. They
The
offer CERT training.
The CERT guys, I think it is. It's either once a month or bi-monthly.
I think it's once a month on a Tuesday. I'm not sure about the date, but they do offer it, and that's a beginning. But it's up to each and every one of us,
Right.
to start beginning a foundation within our neighborhoods, within our neighbors, and there's some people like that, preppers.
Yeah, I mean,
if you got a prepper in your area, you're good to go, because they not only involve themselves, but they invite their neighbors as well.
yeah, I think you would think in the 2019 with cell phones and ways to get information, and that, you know, we wouldn't have so many people dying in severe weather, especially from tornadoes. But I think, I think it's just the fact that a lot of these folks just don't know what to do when it happens. And I think as public safety and we do hopefully, a lot of prevention. We'd like to prevent injuries before, instead of having to deal with injuries. But just being able to educate people, like tornado sirens. They're not designed to warn you if you're inside your home.
Right.
They're designed to warn you if you happen to be outside. And so I think a lot of people think, oh, they're there to, so if I'm in the house at 2 a.m., that'll wake me up. They won't.
No.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I was looking this up on my phone. I don't know if you can see it, but DeKalb, I don't know if there's a glare, but DeKalb they call it Code Red.
Code Red.
And they have, Code Red. If you got your phone there, you can maybe Google it, but it's an emergency notification system that I think DEMA actually uses this, and I guess it's an app maybe. And let me give me just, I'll read about it real quick. It just says, DEMA encourages everyone living or doing business in DeKalb County to sign up in the self-registration portal. Registration must be completed through the portal to receive Code Red notifications. So basically, it's got right here. All you got to do is look it up, and then just you can sign up for it, and you'll actually get an alert from DEMA on your phone if bad weather or something's moving in. And other notifications too. And so that's a good program. I don't know if that's something other counties do, but I'm proud we have that here in DeKalb.
I am too. It was really nice to be able to get that information out. But so, if any of you guys ever worked a natural disaster before in the field?
I was when I was stationed in, actually no, I was asked to go to Katrina. I was in Katrina in New Orleans for almost 30 days, and that was devastation like I've never seen in my life. It was surreal. It was movie like. But you were there. You saw it.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It's a terrible thing. What about like anybody worked small tornadoes or worked anything that felt like your resources were taxed?
Snowmageddon.
Yeah, there you go.
A couple years ago, where everybody was stuck on the interstate of the roads because everybody left at the same time, and the roads froze over. And we were up, actually started at headquarters taking a tablet class, trying to get new iPads for PCRs. And they pulled us all out going, it's snowing, y'all got to go out there. And it was literally nonstop from about 1 o'clock in the afternoon till about 4 or 5 in the morning until we got stuck on the interstate and couldn't go anywhere because there's just too many cars stuck on ice and you couldn't advance. You had to wait for a sand truck. And all you could hear just like, we need another ambulance. Can you get free? I'm like, no, we're stuck here.
Right.
But part of you shouldn't have sent us a little bit is what I'm thinking in the top of my head is you shouldn't have sent us here. Send the sand truck. But they did, and we made it work, and we tried to help as many people as we could out there. But sometimes people just need to heed the warning themselves and not go on the road when it's an ice storm.
Exactly. Exactly. So, go ahead, Pat.
I can just. The year was 1996, and I think it was 1996, and it was when they had the Dunwoody tornado.
Really?
Oh, my
I
God.
remember somebody today that happened to run
There
that.
you
I
go.
didn't know you did.
I was still in high school.
Yes. But yeah, they had a tornado that went right through Dunwoody. And when it happened, we had DeKalb EMS and DeKalb Fire were still two separate agencies. And I happened to be at work that evening. I worked the night shift. But what was kind of disappointing is that this Dunwoody, the tornado hit, but then you have all these other 911 calls still going on all over DeKalb County, and so it really taxed the system. The next day, so we really didn't get involved. It was funny, they had maybe 3 of the north side trucks went, and they were kind of standing by, and the firefighters were going door to door, literally through a neighborhood to check on people. And the south side, we got hammered. We were running all those other calls that were going on.
Right.
But what was so disappointing, the next morning, we actually, they kept everybody over, and we all went to Station 2. We had like an entire shift of EMS folks at Station 2, but we just stood by. Everybody, even though they were tired, they wanted to be out in it. They wanted to be kind of in the thick of things, and but we didn't. We stood by, and I think we got released early afternoon, maybe just after lunch, maybe around 1 o'clock. We got released. But we did have a lot of mutual aid. We had a lot of other fire departments that came and rendered aid, and it was interesting. It was interesting. We even had one paramedic. He was like in a little resource car, and he was actually going around like getting people medication, their prescription medicines, getting them water, food, things like that. So that was good. Good support network.
I recall an incident in Kansas City once, and we had an ice storm, one of the worst ice storms I've ever seen. And we had one highway, an interstate, that was closed down because there was possibly over 100 cars involved. That taxed our EMS system. And you can't prepare for something like that.
No, it's very difficult too. I think that I've worked several. I worked some smaller tornadoes in West Cobb, and I learned a lot. I learned on those types of incidents, it's important where you have your unit stage. As a young EMS supervisor, I figured that one out really quick when I had like three or four EMS units boxed in and could go anywhere. Then I went to an incident. What was it, like an MCI class in Anniston, Alabama, and it was a major tabletop exercise, and that's where I really started learning more about the mass casualty incidents and how to handle them appropriately. But I know I messed up on that because I didn't clearly identify my triage sectors, red, yellow, green, where you would move the patients from the area of the incident. They would be triaged and moved to a treatment sector. And that's what I didn't identify clearly in that. But I've never been involved where we actually used those treatment sectors, where the incident was so big that, that you had to actually move the patient from the triage area to a treatment center and, have oncoming EMS units dropping their drug box and all that there at the treatment center. And you would turn the patient over to them more or less just rotated them in and out. But I think it's something that we need to be prepared for, because I guarantee you, if we had a major tornado come through Dunwoody, I don't know what on the F scale, what number that was, but I can certainly bet it wasn't an F5, or probably wasn't even an F4.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad because we still talk about it to this day.
Yeah.
But there's so much worse that could possibly happen that I think that we need to learn from the surrounding states of what did you do to handle the situation, because I know it was a long time ago, but we can't forget that kind of stuff because it's going to happen. If it doesn't happen in DeKalb, it's going to happen in Cobb or City of Atlanta, but it's going to happen, and people are going to be taxed. We need to be able to, I don't know. I think we need to be ready with a plan in place, and that plan is developed from life lessons from other states and other areas that suffered through that.
That's why after actions are so important.
Absolutely.
After an incident like after actions are so important, because you can see what went right, what went wrong, because none of them are ever perfect.
That's right.
And that's how you learn from experience. You can't teach experience.
You really can't. That's the thing. And I was talking to somebody the other day about, there's several people in the fire department that I'm very fond of, that I really truly believe they do an excellent job when it comes to being instant commanders. And that first fire engine that shows up is the most important incident commander that you could ever have. Right. And I was telling somebody the other day that I wish that before these people leave the county and retire, that we could just squeeze their brain. These are folks that they don't like to talk. They don't like to give classes. They like to train with their station, but they don't want to, they don't want to step out and give classes to, the whole department, for whatever reason. And, it's a lot of them are shy. A lot of them just don't, enjoy that part of the job, but they're so good at it. And I wish we could find a way that we could get a lot of those folks and what's in their brain on paper, so that we could get that information out.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, that's the truth.
But yeah, I was just thinking about that kind of stuff because I was talking to the recruits the other day, and I was basically, telling them that life's going to change, and it did for us too. We just don't remember it. But you can't, when you finally get hired on with a department, there's a certain level of trust and responsibility that goes with that you represent inside your community. Just for instance, I mean, you can't run around we can't run around in uniform and just say anything we want to say. I mean, because we all know people who've done that. They don't work here anymore.
Freedom of speech doesn't apply.
Exactly. I mean, you can't just act the way you think you want to act. There is a way to behave in public that we all, regardless, there's a way that we're all going to behave in uniform around the public. When we're off duty, on the way home, you think twice before you make an obscene gesture out the window that somebody passes you. You've got DeKalb County all over you. You're not going to do that. You might have thought about doing it, but you don't do it. You restrain. Right. You have a certain level of restraint that you have.
Especially now in this day and age of cell phones, and everyone is recording your every move.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Big Brother is watching.
Big Brother is watching. Yes. And I was explaining that to them, that not only that part of it, but the part of everybody in your neighborhood, they know that you work for the fire department. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Yeah. I was telling them that too. They know that you're a fire recruit, and they may not know that means that you're in training, or they may think that you are in training, but they assume that you have a certain set of knowledge and a certain set behavior that the public expects. And but I was telling them how important it was, again, to remember that. And you have to learn airway, breathing, circulation, but you also need to learn
Don't panic.
Yeah, don't panic. But you also need to know the difference in a tornado warning and tornado watch.
Yeah.
You need to be able to tell these folks this, because I think they expect it. And I think that's the kind of stuff that we need to remember, to be able to teach that to fire recruits, to be able to represent ourselves well in our communities. Because I think that's something that's kind of, and in other places, and even here a little bit, that we're missing out, that we've missed out on in the past. I didn't know Fidel worked an MCI in Kansas City at a mall, right?
Oh, yeah, we did. We had a shooter inside the mall.
Oh, wow.
A mental patient just went into the mall one day, and actually, no, let me backtrack. He began in the parking lot, and we found people sitting in their cars. He killed about 3 people, maybe two or three people in the parking lot that were just in their cars. It was around lunchtime. Then he went to the mall and started shooting up the mall. We had every resource you could imagine there. We had several police, first or mutual aid EMS, fire. It was a big to do. One day I'll play I've got the 911 tapes. I'll play them for you.
I would like to hear that, because that's the kind of stuff we need to hear. We need to learn from those incidents, and how can we learn? And that's the whole deal behind this whole show, really, is communicating with each other, but also opening that door. What can we learn? What can we learn from each other, and what can we learn from other departments who's faced situations that were unimaginable?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah.
I mean, look at Las Vegas.
There you go.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I mean, and we could have an incident like that here. We have in DeKalb County one of the largest attractions in Atlanta at Stowe Mountain Park at any given day during the summer, especially on weekends. There's thousands and thousands of people crammed on a lawn that are just, somebody could go, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. I don't like what this carving represents, and come in there and try to change that and use force, or a group of them come in and use force. And they have their own small fire department.
Right.
And it's going to take us and Gwinnett and everybody in Atlanta, if they really, really tried. This is probably a bad idea to talk about. Now somebody has an idea. Crap.
I don't
But
those I had a much worse page. I'm sure you probably could have planted that seed.
And as you mentioned earlier, Mike, about learning from your peers. And on that incident, about the active shooter incident at the mall, I did learn from the people that were there, the paramedics, the EMTs that were there long before I ever came along. And I've learned how to manage scenes from them. And now I show up, and I think that was my second or third major scene that I've ever had to manage. But I think I did well.
Bless you.
Bless you.
I learned that from the people that were there before me.
Yeah, I think so too. I think let's take triage tags. Still usable to this day. They've been around forever.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I think so too. It gets the job done. It identifies what priority your patient is. It provides somewhere with some quick vital signs you can put down. It keeps a registration number with the patient, so we may not know your name, but we know the number that was assigned to you, what hospital you were transported to.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's still, I've never seen, I'm sure there's, you would think today there's an app for that, but I've never seen that one No one ever said, "Hey, we got this new system that's better than the triage tag." It's been around forever,
And it works. It's simple.
It
Yeah,
is.
it-
You can't beat simplicity.
No, I think currently what we have are our triage bags on the truck or the tape where they just literally tie it around their ankle. I mean, if I was a person who's going to make an app for multiple casualty, I would just have a kit set up where you would have barcode bracelets, and once they get to the treatment area, slap one on there, scan it, and now you have that information. You say what hospital and go ahead and preload it onto a computer.
right?
You
Oh,
know, that'd be
wow.
the fastest way. Yeah, so if you take the barcode, because all hospitals give out a barcode tag, we could literally get them to self-stick very quickly, put one on. That's their job. Somebody's job is to go around and put these on there, scan it very quickly, and they could literally take a picture of it with them and just go on and say, this is your barcode, whatever. Click, here's a picture of your face. We know who you are and what hospital you go to by entering that information.
Does anybody do that? Does anybody in departments do that?
No, I don't think anybody's invented it until just now. So I just
Yeah.
patented that as
Yeah,
under
you
Page
just,
Briggs, no patent.
You just give a bunch of
And
people
let's go sell it. Pat, I
an
need your
idea.
help.
Copyright. Oh wow.
Let's see if there's such a thing.
We would literally change triage right there by doing that.
Yeah, until the battery died in the scanner, I guess. That's what would
Yeah.
happen to me.
Yeah, you know, it'd be the
Oh,
last piece of equipment nobody checks, and everybody
Yeah.
gets there like, oh, it doesn't scan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
scanned this morning when I checked it off.
I'm sure it did.
I checked it off. My signature's in the book. I signed it this morning.
It's totally
Right.
Oh man! All right, so
I was
Not much for MCI apps at the Apple Store.
yeah, Fidel's typing right
NCIS.
now.
All right, Fidel, you heard it. Let's do it. We just need to figure out how to write an app.
I got an engineer friend who'd help us
Let's do it.
Do it.
do
We'll
it too.
try it out here. Well, we'll try it out right here in the cab.
On a practice run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of practice MCI. Let's not do it on a real one because that'll just prove that it failed and it'll never work.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. So we've been going almost an hour. I think an hour is a pretty good time. I would like to start doing something different though, like maybe call it a pick of the week. So a story or an article maybe that you read that you found interesting or you found awesome. We'll call it the pick of the week. I don't know if anybody's prepared for that or not. But is there anything out there that it doesn't have to be related to our topic for tonight? It could be anything. It doesn't even have to be EMS related. It could be just the pick of the week.
Oh,
The burning of the cathedral.
Okay.
Yeah.
oh, that was something. Yeah. That
What was did they figure out the end result of that or what?
So far, it's just an accident. I've heard.
I think they're blaming the welders that were up there at some point too.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you like to be those people that
How would
caused?
how would you like it to be on your shift? And
I just burned down an 800-year-old roof.
yeah,
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
way to go, A shift. Way to go, A shift.
It's always a shift.
I will say,
It's always A shift.
Damn it! Shift.
I will say, and this is probably blasphemous to say this, but I did like the European style fire helmets. I saw they had. It's, I don't know if you guys saw them. They had a picture.
Sure, let me find my way. I
It
can
looks like
off right.
it looks-
I think Kate's coming with
Where's
one.
my mouse at?
yeah, it looks
Kate's
like
gonna come up with one.
something a gladiator would wear or something.
Oh,
You know,
yeah?
it was all
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the
it
French
looks
have
like
their own.
a helmet or something. It looks like something a gladiator would wear. Of course, you know, here in the United States, we have the traditional New Yorker leather
Yes.
forever. You know,
Yeah.
Forever and ever and ever. Amen.
There's actually a
Yeah,
push
yeah,
by a
yeah.
lot of departments actually go to that European style helmet because it's lighter and it has more coverage over the head, covering, you know, part of more of the face and neck for cancer purposes. versus the traditional where you have to wear that hood and you have more possibility of exposed, even though hood technology's improved immensely. So I think some departments are looking at it, I think, but the thing is the fire department is full of tradition. It's gonna be very hard to have them give up their leathers.
I can't even. I think. I'm getting some static. I think we should get everybody at Station 24 though to try that though. 24 is going to be the trial run on the European helmet.
I think Heindel should have one at the Fire Academy.
Yeah.
I have to see him too much nowadays, so I'm going to hold on that.
It'd probably be a bad idea.
Ooh, yeah.
I think one of the things too, now in our modern fire trucks, they have a little cautionary statement in the back, and it says not to wear your helmet while riding in the fire truck. And I was trying to figure that out. Why is that? It make Johnny and Roy wore a helmet.
That's
going
what I was
to
going to say. Johnny Roy did, so it's got to be okay.
And it's got to be good, right? So, and it seems like wearing a helmet, God forbid you're in a wreck. You've got that extra level of protection. And Chief Unangst actually sent me. She said, I bet it's because of the brim of the traditional American fire helmet that your seat is designed to support your neck, and you don't have that neck support because the brim prevents you from sitting back. And so and I'm not saying I'm in favor of this, but the European fire helmet doesn't have that brim, the rear brim, and so I guess you could safely wear a European style fire helmet while riding.
West Coast didn't like LA, or does somebody over here in the United States wear those helmets?
I don't know. I did see a video. I actually this was before the Notre Dame fire, because the ones they have in France, they're this shiny, they're chrome or something. They're real shiny. But I did see a video recently on YouTube or something, and it was a department that in the United States that was trying out that style helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the guys said that. They said, I'm a traditional firefighter. I'm really against change.
Right.
I heard that, there's two things that firefighters hate, and that's change and the way things are, and so, and they were saying that, they said, we're really against this. When they brought them by, we're like, no, I'm never wearing that. But then after they tried them out, they actually liked them.
Okay.
But, and again, I'm not saying we should do that. I'm just saying,
and for the record, said, I'm not for this.
Yeah, for the record,
Good information, and we talked about it, but we might not go there.
So don't be coming up to training next week blaming us because the guys at 24 got European helmets. It's our fault. What about it, Paige? Do you have a pick of the week?
To be honest, I actually kind of want to go back to what we talked about a little bit last week with education, and that's been a hot topic on a lot of the pages on the internet about people going to get a degree and not, and people are like, why should we? And everybody's against it. And similar to firemen, EMS is against change. They're like trying to fight it, but really it's just you look like some people who are trying to say, no, we don't need education and we don't need to improve ourselves. They're like, because we do fine on our own. And I think really it would make stronger workforce on their own. But there's still that argument against it where literally you take those 6 or 7 classes, depending on where you go, you need 2 more and you can apply to nursing school and make $20,000 or $30,000 more a year with only 1 more year of school. So there is that drawback. But once I think pay goes up as paramedics become more educated, that will stop that and bring a draw back into paramedicine.
I agree. Also, keep getting a bunch of feedback. I think it's good. All right. I also think that the whole EMS industry, and I don't care if you're public or you're private, it really needs to be overhauled. Not just I mean, you got to look at it. You know, you got 21-year-olds like I used to be
Same here.
a couple of years ago. Who was I was a field supervisor, and I managed, you know, a whole shift of guys and girls, and I didn't have the best people skills because I was young, but I came to work, and so they were like, well, you know, he's here, you know, he's a pretty consistent guy, he seems all right, let's promote him to supervisor. And you know, just in that, you know, the whole how the EMS industry is managed. It's managed. It's a very young field, and it's a young field because of the burnout rate, everything else. So we have to improve working conditions. We have to improve working conditions for people who want to come in this field, because I think there is still people who want to do this. It's when they get out here and they get treated terribly, and that only lasts for so long, and people go, you know what? I mean, people get treated better at Quick Trip. Now, I've heard that all the time. I'm going over for Quick Trip. You know, so we have to figure out a way to provide good leadership inside the EMS industry.
Yes.
Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
One second.
Go ahead.
What also needs to improve is the benefits package.
Yeah.
You don't have a well benefits package, you're not gonna keep them. Yeah, getting paid 50 grand a year is nice, but when you're being driven to the ground with 16, 18 calls a day, it gets old, and well, maybe I don't need to make $50,000 anymore. It's not worth the 18, 19, 20 calls that they're running it per shift. I know I wouldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't. Not again.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
The 18 calls a shift and the stress that goes with that, man, it's a hard place. And then when you turn in time to get off, get denied every single time. Because we're so short. Everybody's short.
Yeah.
And so it's hard. And all that. I hope that all of that will be visited one day. But you know what? We're closer to doing something about it now than we ever have been.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a positive.
I've got one more thing before we leave.
Sure.
Is some of my EMS friends, over the last week, have been posting about firemen, about why do they always show up on calls wearing their gear, and where they're going inside, whether it's inside a home, in the grocery store, why, especially. And then I got in the conversation, and I know better than to get involved in these conversations because I know where it goes. So I asked them, well, what time of the day is it? If it's in the evening or in the middle of the night, we don't have time to put on a uniform. It's easier to put on your gear, run the call, come back, because we run so many calls that we don't have enough time we don't have the luxury of time on our side.
Well, that, and I know when I was out there, just because you're on an EMS call now doesn't mean that on the way back to the station you're going to make it there.
Right.
Getting to the back of a fire truck is not the funnest thing to do going down the road. So if I already have at least my bunker pants on, that's a head start. All I got to do now is finish it up. And that was one reason why I liked wearing my gear, was for that reason. This might be an EMS call now, but the next call, could be a fire.
Or be a car wreck on the interstate.
Or a car wreck on the interstate, absolutely.
Right. Absolutely, yeah.
But again, let's look at it from both sides. And,
you have to.
Not get tunnel vision into just one. All right, that's it. I'm off my soapbox.
No, I totally agree. I think that's always been a problem too, is for the fact of people can't see. People have to open their minds, and you have to be able to see both sides of an argument. Because we're never going to get anywhere if we keep dividing between two sets of public safety that all of us are out there to do one common thing, and that's to save people's lives and to do good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, next Wednesday, I'll see you guys then.
All right.
right.
See you then.
All right. Good
Yeah,
night.
Enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. Thank y'all.
Okay, Pat, say bye to your cat.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.